So today's workshop tour vlog, kind of just general chat, is just focusing more on a couple of updates for the workshop and a couple of projects that are coming in the future. One of them is using these bits of Baltic birch plywood to make a bowl or cup or vase or something like that. I also have been collecting sawdust from all my projects. I have absolutely tons of sawdust now. This is eucalyptus. I've got tons of bags of sawdust, so in the next 2 weeks there'll be a video all about what to do with sawdust. I also have a video coming out soon on on how to make a overhead tripod kind of thing using this CLS timber. This is going to be mainly for you guys for making better content, but it's going to go over the lathe and basically just help me get better angles when I'm turning stuff on the lathe. Another thing I'm going to have a go at doing is resin. I've recently purchased a litre of resin, so I'm really looking forward at making a couple of things with that. I'm going to be making a resin ring with some volcanic rock from Mount Etna that I collected last year, I think. I'm also going to be making a resin bowl with a red oak or white oak, I can't remember what the wood is, log. I'm going to be doing a couple of projects using logs as well, because I think they're a really interesting wood to use, because they don't behave like normal sort of planks of wood or blanks that have already been pre-cut. So I think it's interesting trying to get blanks and stuff from actual logs and wood that you've harvested yourself. I think that's a more interesting aspect of woodwork that I'm interested in trying. In terms of other projects, I've got a wax finish sort of lesson, tutorial, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. I'm going to be using candle wax to do this, so it should be quite interesting, I think, because candle wax is easily gettable. You can get it from a shop or you can just use old candles. I'm going to be using old candles, so things like tea lights. You can get pillar candles, so take the trimming bit off that. And then I'm going to melt that down and make a wax block, and then I'll use that on the lathe to show you an alternative method of using waxes rather than using something like your normal carnocrystalline wax, your beeswax finish. Instead using a candle wax finish, which some candle waxes contain paraffin, some don't. So I'll have a look at what the makeup of the candles I'm going to be using is, and hopefully that should make a really interesting video. I'm also going to be doing some things with offcuts. Let me just grab a couple. So I have tons of really small bits of offcuts of hardwoods and things, so as you can see here. So I'm going to be making a video all about what to do with offcuts, because in this quarantine time it's really hard to get hold of wood at times, so I'm going to be trying to use more offcuts at the moment. And I mean, what I do use now is technically offcuts from most of the big hardwood suppliers, but I think it'd be an interesting sort of field of woodworking to try. Just a couple of videos working with offcuts rather than big chunks of wood. Again, there's going to be lots more wood turning videos coming up, and I know a lot of you are enjoying those at the moment. There'll be another bowl video coming in the next 2 weeks, I think, which will have a mixture of 2 or 3 different types of wood. There'll also be some sort of more interesting aspects of lathe turning, so I'm going to be trying to turn a little stool using hopefully a log, like a cookie cut of a log, and making some legs on the lathe. I'm also going to be making a couple of other things on the lathe, so some drawer pulls, because that's a really good project for getting the exact size of things. And then just generally just having a bit of fun with woodworking, using some scraps up, making new things. Now, where you guys come into this would be really helpful if you could put project suggestions in the comment section down below of this video, or using the discussion feature if you're on a laptop or a computer or a desktop. I just think having project ideas that you guys really want to see really helps me gauge sort of the audience better, and helps me see as a viewer what you prefer to see. I'm also going to be making another flag. I made my Union Jack, I think it was 2 months ago now, 1 or 2 months ago, and I'm going to be making a Dorset flag, as I think that's a really interesting flag. It's got some nice colour in it, it's got yellow in it, red in it, so I think that'd be a nice project. And on a more general aspect, I'll just do a quick workshop tour, like a couple of 2-3 minute tour, just to update you on a couple of things. Another recent addition to the workshop is this Axminster belt and disc sander. If you haven't seen the unboxing of this, I'll link it up at the top somewhere. I also built this sort of rough and ready workbench for it to sit on. It's just 2 thick pieces of old pallet wood with a support along the middle, which this can sit on. It's just an extension to the workbench. They're not the same height because it's all scrap wood. It just really helps me though, because it gets me a bit more workbench space, and it's a really useful addition to the workshop. In terms of storage, I know a few people have been interested in what I do. I store wood scraps in this big green bucket thing, and then my finishes get stored at the top of this metalworking cabinet. And then if we have a look in here, there's all my other bits for metalworking, and then some more metalworking equipment there. And then if we have a look in here, there's some scrap metal. So I find that really useful for storing finishes because it keeps them separate from everything else. And then I use this red bucket for storing logs and everything. And then on a more general sort of storage facility, I use these sort of organisers. If I just pan the camera right round, I use these, and these are really great for storing all your sort of screws, hardware. I use these regularly and I find them really, really effective. And then I've got this shelf here and another shelf here that I just use for storing other things. And if we come back round and just have a look at here, this is my workbench. As you know, I've added another layer to the bottom of this just to give me way more working space. Something else that I find incredibly useful in my workshop is dust collection. I have this sort of Hoover attachment attached to my dust collector, and then I have this port here which I can use for this belt and disc sander, although I need to buy an adapter. I then have the actual Hoover connected all the way down here, which is really effective, and it's a great use in the workshop. And then this goes all the way around to my drill press. And I really like that. I love dust collection because it saves me so much time when I have to hoover this whole workshop. And it is a small space, so it does get very dusty very quickly. So I have to always keep it clean. So having dust collection is an absolute must in a small space. Something else that's been really helpful in the workshop, bizarrely, is actually having a bell. Because often I'm filming something and someone will come outside or something and interrupt me. So I've now got this bell, so if someone needs me, they can just press the little bell outside, and then I'll get notified by an audible noise on that bell thing, which is really helpful. I decided I was going to go and pick up some of the logs that I had seen when I was filming the channel trailer. If you haven't seen the channel trailer, then this might not make much sense, but I'm back at this wood area and I'm scavenging for some wood to make another bowl with. Now, I found this piece just over here, which looks fairly nice. It's got a nice figure to it, but you can obviously clearly see these cracks. Now, I've just gone and bought a litre of resin. So the plan is to cut a slice off of this and encase it in resin. I've got some light blue pigment for the resin, but I think we'll just dry it clear for now. I just want to find another piece. The hope was I could get like a cookie slice of a log to make a table with, like a little stool table kind of thing. However, none of these are possible to lift. They weigh far too much. And believe me, I did try my very hardest to lift some of them. But yeah. There's some other nice ones though, like this one for example. Only trouble is I'm not even sure my lathe could handle the capacity of that. So as you've just seen, not the world's most successful hunt, so we're going to keep looking. What about this one? Okay, so it's got some funky bit of art on this side. This must have been one of the main pieces, but it's got this beautiful figure here. I think we might take this one as well. And pop that into the bag too. That is going to be one heavy old bag. We got some wood though. I think it's time started trying to carry this back. Thanks for watching.